The first job is for a cybersecurity compliance project manager in Alexandria, Virginia. And before we start, I should let you know that I actually have a course that walks you through how to get into cybersecurity, how to get into this line of work. And it's, if you're in IT, if you're in cybersecurity already, I've got another course where it tells you how to actually upgrade in this industry. Because I've been doing this for a long, I've been doing this since the 90s, and I've been doing all aspects of it, and all I'm doing is sharing with you guys my experience in this field, and I'm open. That's the reason why I call this ConvoCourses, is because it's a conversation. I don't have all the answers. It's not me, it's us. If you happen to have been in the IT career field for some time, you can. I'm all ears. I'm willing to put you on. I'm willing to add you to the conversation. It's ConvoCourses, conversation. All right, so let's start with this first one. This is cybersecurity compliance project manager in Alexandria. Now, I've personally never done project management before, but I have worked with a lot of project managers. And this one is, let's see, our client is an SBA, so it's a small business, woman-owned information technology service company committed to delivering loans. A lot of times they'll be veteran-owned or minority-owned. Or me personally, I just want a job. So that stuff, unless it's veteran-owned, it's neither here nor there. I'm okay with whomever I work for as long as it's a good company. That's just my personal take on that. Job title. Okay, we already read that. Cybersecurity Compliance Project Manager. And we'll talk a little bit about this if looks like they don't have a lot of details here. Hopefully this link here will take us somewhere. But location, Alexandria, Virginia. A little bit about it, Alexandria, Virginia. This area here has so many jobs. Virginia, that whole area, especially Virginia, Washington, D.C., so many federal jobs in that area, especially if you do cybersecurity, if you have a clearance. There's so many opportunities in that region for cybersecurity IT for federal government. Long-term position, that's a good thing. And it's long-term as opposed to a contract, a short-term contract, or a internship or something like that. So long-term, I would contact them to see how long is long-term, because that's pretty generic. But this is coming from, I'll just give you the number here if you're wanting to actually do this position. It's 703-653-0218. But let's see if we can get more information on this, because this is not a lot of information for us to go on. Okay, so this leads us directly to their site, and it's Param Solutions. It looks like they're small business that supplies staffing or positions for the federal government. Okay, here we go. First off, they're requiring a clearance, an active secret clearance. And a lot of times if they're asking for an active secret clearance, then yeah, you're going to have a clearance to get in there. Sometimes they'll say that they'll prefer that you are eligible for one. That means, they can sometimes get you a clearance. But in this case, the company, they hire in people who already have an active clearance, who already have the experience, and then that way they can get into these contracts faster. And a lot of smaller companies do that kind of thing. Larger companies like Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, or whatever, they have enough resources to actually get you a clearance. So that's the kind of the pros and cons of a small versus a large company. Small companies typically they'll have like more. They seem to care about their people a little bit more. From what I've noticed, the larger companies, you're kind of just a number. That's just my personal experience. If you guys have a different experience, and let me know. All right, so let's continue on. Now, what do they want? What are the key roles here? What's the key role here? Serve as a task lead responsible for the creation of cybersecurity governance, risk, and compliance. And you're going to be a part of a team to assess DoD organization, and you're going to do design, develop, and implement the assessment program independently of the cybersecurity GRC metric. Okay, what does that mean? So I can, in a nutshell, what they're wanting you to do is you're going to be a risk management framework. So there's a standard called a risk management framework. It comes from a document called the NIST 837, and it walks you through this long process that government agencies need to do in order to protect their systems. That's what they're talking about. And they're talking about governance. They're talking about the actual going from those federal standards and policies. And they're talking about risk. They're talking about risk management framework, where you're going through and mitigating or reducing the risk to the organization. And then you're talking about compliance, making the system that you're working on compliant with those federal regulations by reducing the risk going through those federal regulations. So that's what GRC is in a nutshell. All right, let's keep reading here. Determine readiness for audits and inspections based on DoD policies and NIST standards, just like we just talked about. Identify risks and provide automated remediation or fix actions for vulnerabilities that are in the environment on those assets. All right, I know we're talking a lot. We have a lot of like jargon, a lot of acronyms and stuff like that. So what I want to do is kind of break some of this stuff down so that you can better understand what they're trying to do here. So when they say determine readiness for audits, so what you're going to be doing in this position is you're going to be part of a team where you're going to be helping them to reduce the weaknesses on the within the system. And typically this is not usually a very technical position. It's a lot of documentation. They do require you to know what the federal government says about security best practices, and all of those are in the NIST standards, that NIST 837 or NIST 853 that we kind of been hinting around. Okay, work to improve communications and enhance the organization's security posture through risk assessment preparation. So perform blind, non-punitive readiness assessments for the organizational units to provide a preparatory remediation plan. Okay, so right here they're talking about what's called a plan of action and milestones. So what they're saying is you would like do a scan, or you'd have somebody in your team that would run some sort of vulnerability scan. Or sometimes you don't even need a vulnerability scan. You can just, something is not working properly. There's a certain security feature that's not in your environment, and they're like, okay, we got to put this in place. But 9 times out of 10, most of the vulnerabilities are found via some sort of a vulnerability scanner. You run the scan and it'll come back with an assessment, a breakdown, a report of all the weaknesses. And what they're saying is you're going to be a part of a team that gets ready for inspections, because with federal organizations, and even state and large organizations where you're protecting very important computers, very important information, you have a third party, another organization comes in and they'll do an assessment on your organization. And the reason why they have a third party do it is so that they're objective. They don't care whether you pass or fail. I mean, of course they care. Whether they care or not is not the point. But they're a disinterested party. They don't have a vested interest in you passing or failing. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't. It doesn't matter to them if you pass or fail. Not affect their bottom line or their paycheck or anything like that. Or they don't have a interest in it. So that's why you have an outside third party organization come and do a scan, and then they would show the results to you, show the results to your leadership, and then you would if you had this position, you would then be a part of a team to fix these items. All right, let's keep going forward here, and it says provide leadership and an unfiltered view of organization's security posture, measuring the balance between its objectives and risk profile. Qualifications: 10 years experience with cybersecurity, ability to design, develop, and manage the implementation of risk assessment process methodologies, including, and then you'll use tools including EMAS. EMAS is it's like a database, like an online. It's a usually intranet based database where you would upload all of the documentation that goes for each one of the security controls. So a system has hundreds of security controls that you have to put in. Security controls would be like audit logs, access controls, identification and authentication controls. There's all kinds of physical controls, all that stuff. All the evidence of you meeting those controls and saying that, yep, this one's done, we have audit controls fixed, you would upload that into your intranet database, like such as EMAS. And there's many different ones. There's Exacta. There's built-in ones where you just use Oracle, and there's many different variations of this EMAS system. Okay. The ability to communicate effectively and professionally with fast-paced client environment. You need a bachelor's or a BS in information technology, cybersecurity field. And really, this one's pretty flexible as long as you have a bachelor's degree in either STEM technology. They'll usually take if you have any kind of engineering degree or any kind of technical degree. They want to know that you have a kind of a technical mindset and know how to problem solve and things like that. So if it's in botany, that's not going to fly necessarily, unless you maybe have some certifications to back it up or something, you have experience. But if you have any double E or something like that, or if you have a database, maybe you have a bachelor's degree in database management or something like that, that would work as well. All right. And DOD 8140, 8570 certification. So these certifications, I can kind of name off a few for you. One is a CISS, starting from the top, CISSP. You've got CEH. You've got Security Plus. You got the CASP, you've got Net Plus on the low end of this, but they're saying a level 2. Level 2 would be a CAP is a level 2. That's an ISC CAP, or what else? A CEH, I believe, is a level 2. Security Plus is a level 2. CASP is a level 3, but everything above a level 2 can satisfy that certification requirement. All right. Let's keep going here. Additional qualifications. Experience with GRC and assessment processes. Experience with 8500 series. 8500 series, DoD 8500, is the Department of Defense's response to how they implement security best practices. So it's a whole series of documents that starts from a directive to an instruction to a policy, and then each one of the branches of the military has their own more specific policy for their branch. Like the Department of Navy has their own series that is based off of 8500 series, and you got Air Force has their own, Army has theirs, it's AR 25-2. Each one has their own breakdown of how they implement that policy, but they're all very similar, and they're all aligned with the NIST 800 series. So if you feel like you can do this. Oh, here's another one. Additional qualifications. PMP certification. So PMP is a project management certification. It seems like you're going to be a person, because a project manager is a person who is kind of oversees the project. They're not necessarily doing hands-on stuff. They're not necessarily, usually whenever I've been in an organization, they don't normally do the scans. They don't normally implement security controls. They don't normally do documentation necessarily. They're a person who is overseeing the timeliness of the entire project. But in this one, since they're going into the key roles and what you're doing here, it seems like you're going to be very integrated into what information system security officers do, which is more of a hands-on and a direct, you're really in the weeds on some of this stuff. So I would say this is a pretty good position. If you're interested in this, let me give you some contact information here. If you go to param, param-solutions.com/careers, you'll find this position. And also we have that phone number for you. And let me see if I can find that again. That phone number was 703-653-0218 if you're interested. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, then I'll have all the information in the description below. Let's move on to the next job.